Um, my question is, the 1515 program on funding that you're going for, is that because of funding gaps, to fill the funding gaps, and is the reason why you're going for those fundings? Because we do have seniors, a lot of seniors. I'm a housing ambassador with HPD, partnered up, and doing that housing connect, a lot of seniors have been displaced, and we have a big. I understand everybody has to be placed somewhere, and so we just need to split this up a little bit more. And I understand where Eva's coming from, and I also understand that we have to be sensitive for the people who are chronically mentally ill. But in East Harlem, we do have a lot, and I know a lot of people are a lot of NIMBYs, and we're a lot of YIMBYs, and we just got to split it up. But I just want to know if you're going for that 1515 because of you need to have some funding, and you may have a funding gap, and so you're going to go for those dollars. And I just want to know if that's what you're going to do, or if that's the case, this is the reason why you're having a 1515.
Hey, Candy, I'll try to answer your question. Financing affordable housing, I'm not sure if you have heard me say this before, but financing affordable housing is really a balancing act where we need to really try to bring as many resources as we can to make this affordable housing happen. In that effort, projects that are financed under ELA have to compete for resources with a lot of other projects. So any source of funding that we can bring in to help us make this happen is welcome. And if you're correct, the 1515 program comes with an extra source of income for the project, not only for the project, but also for the potential tenants of the building. The tenants will be subject to, or will be receiving a subsidy. So the tenants will not be paying more than 30% of any income that they're making. So all of that, all the resources that we can leverage to help us finance this project will be used. And among of them is this 1515 program. Related, the very important topic or element that you mentioned in when raising your question, Candy, was like the senior housing. I think it's very important to highlight that we are very aware that there's a huge need for senior housing, not only here, but again, citywide. In that effort, we're working with other folks in CB11 to bring senior housing. There is going to be a project that is going to come to you guys in the future. You probably are aware at this point. Is with an entity that you are very familiar with, Ascendant Development Neighborhood.
That's only a little bit of apartments.
Mm-hmm.
That's only just like a certain amount of units. And when you look at how you're dividing the units, because that's also the unit distribution has a lot to do with that, as well as how much the community is actually going to benefit out of that. Because I know that we're going to have the 50% of the of the community preference. But let's say you only have 3 apartments that is going to be affordable for the seniors. Where do you fit those 50% in? Well, and then it's going to be for the seniors, because I look at the unit distributions, and I also look at how much it could be at $28,000, right? Because I am aware, I am a housing provider. I've developed before, but I'm just trying to say is, so there's many different hats, but it's just for the fairness of all, because like I said, I'm on this board for the community, not just for myself. But what I'm trying to say is, Mr. Cortez, is just that, if that's what you needed for the funding gap, you already answered that. And I did. Okay, and I just find that I think that it compromises our community for too much, because that means we're not being heard. Everyone is trying to find a place to live, and especially you got talented artists. Tell us that you're going to give us a lot of talented artists to go live in there, like Art Space. And even then, a lot of people stood out, and there's probably a long wait list because they can't get in, whether they're seniors, youth, or adults, but it's still fairness, and it's balancing out. I don't understand how much of a balancement are you going to give out of that 1515 program individuals that are going to benefit out of that, coming from the shelter or a clinic or hospital or something. I don't know. You know, that needs to be, be transparent about it, so like that you don't have the community upset and asking questions over and over, like you feel like everybody's going in circles. But the circle is that there's no transparency, and you really need to do that. And I'm just saying that, not to badge at you, not to fight with you or anything like that. I'm just being honest.
Sorry, I'm a bit confused now.
If it's okay, I did just want to make a general statement about financing and HPD, is that regardless, the development team would have to provide 15% of units for formerly homeless individuals without any services, and 15-15 lets us also provide services to those individuals. So the equation does turn out for a better situation of having residents with services.
Right, but with the financing, it's a choice. You can choose to have that as the financing or not. I'm just asking if that was the reason why you did that. That was it.
And Candy, I think, one more thing. I think the example of the other project that I was mentioning is to help help make the case that there are other things happening for the community. We are trying to work with every resource that we have, not only city owned, but also privately owned, or a combination of both, right? To try to address some of the needs that we have heard from the community. So we hear senior housing. We're working with an entity that actively works in the community to bring more than a few senior housing units. And the other thing that I want to highlight, perfectly how you said, most of the projects, all the projects are subject to the 50% community board preference. My message always is, work with the entities that are going to be responsible for the marketing process, because nothing stops from that 50% to become a 60%, 70%, 90%. Depends a lot on the strategies that entities put in place to guarantee that members of the community apply and seek those units. So again, the commitment from us is to continue engaging with you guys, to continue working with you, to polish those strategies, to really help the community to get those units. So this is a conversation. We'll continue with this. Again, we're more than happy to continue having this engagement with you guys. Can we?
Yes, Mr. Cortez. Again, please change your